will go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to be talking about ways you can wow and welcome your students and families into the school year that's going to make a strong first impression on them. So, let's get started. If you are new to me and my page, I want to introduce myself. My name is Melody Munch, and I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I taught second grade for 8 years. Second grade is just the sweetest grade to me. I love how independent students are, but they're still so sweet. So I loved getting to be a second grade teacher. I'm married to my husband, Nick. We've been married about 7 years, and we're expecting our first baby this December. So we're so excited to add on to our family. My brand is called Mrs. Munch's Munchkins. I started that as I was teaching, and it's just grown a little by little. Last year, I decided to try creating classroom resources full time. It was so much fun. I definitely miss being in the classroom, so I expect to be back soon. But with baby on the way, we decided this was not the year. We'll wait one more and kind of see how we're feeling. Thank you so much. And yes, oh, good memories. Someone remembered that my birthday's in December. So yeah, me and baby will have the same birthday month, so that'll be extra special this year for sure. So where I share most of my ideas is on the same name as my company, Mrs. Munch's Munchkins. I'm on YouTube, a lot on Instagram, and everywhere else that you can find ideas. I try to be there so that you can be getting lots of teacher ideas. But my favorite ideas to share, and all of my teammates could attest to this, my favorite ideas to share are back to school because it's just such a palpable, exciting time for the whole school. There's those like first day nerves and jitters that everyone has, and just the expectation of a new school year is comes with opportunities and is really exciting. And I just really cherish it because it's just such a fun time to start creating memories and creating really unique experiences for you and your students and your classroom families. Almost tied would be the end of the year, because at the end of the year, it's so bittersweet. You've created this beautiful community, and now you're looking back and remembering all those good times. So I also love the end, but the beginning is truly my favorite. So why are we talking about this? Why are you spending your time at a training about starting strong? It's because first impressions are a big deal. They go a really long way and help you as you are getting started with a new class of students. So much easier to start strong and have that trust right away than to have to earn it little by little throughout the year. If parents can trust you from the get-go and come to you with a positive expectation, and they see that they care, they know that you care from the little actions you've done, they are so much more likely to be understanding and be on your side, especially if there's any problems they need to discuss with you. It just works much better to start off strong. It also is going to build great connections with your students so that they're already excited about you and excited to be in your class. Really, it just lays the foundation for a wonderful school year. So starting strong really helps you most of all, but of course, we also want our families and our students to feel comfortable and excited walking into the year with us. So in today's training, I'm going to give you so many ideas. You're going to walk away with more than enough things that you can implement. So I want to preface by saying, do not feel like you need to do every single idea that I'm going to toss at you. My goal for you is to walk away with maybe one or two things that you haven't done before that you want to implement into your upcoming school year. And luckily, these ideas are quick, they're inexpensive, they're not going to take a ton of your time. So maybe you'll end up doing more than that, who knows? But do not feel like you have to do them all. These are things that I've added on over years and years of teaching. I did not do all of these in my first year for sure. So please remember that as we go through. You can tuck these ideas away and add them on in any upcoming year. You don't have to do them all to start strong. These are just ideas that will really help you. And Marla, I'm not sure. It seems like things are working pretty well, so it might be like a connection issue. Okay, I'll try and talk louder. Okay, I'll try and keep talking loud. I feel like I'm yelling, but I totally get it. Okay, so here are some of the ideas we are going to discuss. I'm going to discuss lots of ways to welcome your students, like a welcome video, an email, postcard, lots of things you can do and hand out at Meet the Teacher night. So ideally, this would be a night or back to school night that you're having before the first day of school, if that's how it works for your school area. If you don't have one of those, you could adapt a lot of these ideas to be things that happen the first morning of school when families are coming in, they're dropping off their students, all that good stuff. And we're going to talk about some things that kind of lead into the first day and communicating with parents throughout the year. So, like I said, lots of good ideas. As I discuss, there'll be some things that are in a freebie folder for those of you who are watching live. And we are going to send out that freebie folder at the very end of the session. So that way you don't have to go back and find it multiple times. You'll have it at the end. You'll be able to take a picture with a QR code so that you can access it at all times. It's not going to be deleted. So you will have access to that if you're here live. We'll send that at the end. If there's anything that's not inside that folder that is a paid link, my virtual assistant Gabby is here. And Gabby will be pasting links for you in the chat. We will also send them in the replay email. So if you are looking at the email, you can go back and refer to them there as well. Gabby, I'll let you say hi. She's going to be the one chatting with you in the chat area.
Hi guys, so excited to help you all today. And as Melody said, I'll just be sending all the links as she's going over the products, and we will get you guys that freebie folder.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gab. She's awesome. She's also admitting all of you from the waiting room, so I appreciate her so much. Okay, let's dive in with the first idea. We have the welcome video. Now, even if you don't have access to students, which students are going to be on your roster before the year begins, this is still something you could do and you could send it out later. But in an ideal world, you would have your class list at least a day before school starts, and you could send families an email that would show them a little glimpse of who you are and perhaps a glimpse of your classroom. This will be inside the freebie folder so you can hear it with the audio in there. But I'm going to play it without audio just because it kind of echoes weird if I leave the audio on. It's a less than a minute video of me showing the class, hey, I'm Mrs. Munch. Here's a peek at our room. Come on in. And then I'm showing them around little by little. I'm showing them different spots in the room. I'm showing them where they're going to sit when I'm reading stories, really just giving them a quick glance of what they can expect when they come to meet me for the first time. Here's why I think this is so valuable to do. One, it's not very much time on you. It's short and sweet. Two, it's just giving students an introduction to the space. So giving them a chance to see what it's like before they come can really ease some anxiety for a lot of students who are nervous about what their space is going to look like and nervous about who you are. So introducing yourself can just really calm their nerves, especially maybe they're new to your school building or maybe they're new to the area. And this can be something that really excites them and also excites their families. I can't tell you how many families told me that they watched this video over and over and over and over again. Some of them even sent it to grandparents or friends. And I even had one mom who told me her son cried whenever he watched it and was like happy tears, like, okay, my new school's going to be okay because this looks better than I thought. So it's a really little thing that can go a long way is the basic premise here. You also don't have to show your classroom. Maybe you're like, I am still putting my classroom together, or we have a really limited time to do that, so I can't film that in my classroom. You don't have to. I had a wonderful teacher friend who gave me this idea, and she would set up her camera just like I'm talking to you now, and she would introduce herself and say, hi, I'm Mrs. Gable. I'll be your third grade teacher. Here's a little bit about me. Here are some things you can expect that we're going to do this year. And that was it. And students still absolutely loved that video. So once she shared that idea with me, I knew I had to take it and adapt it and share my room as well because students just absolutely love it. And like I said, you don't have to show your whole room if you don't want to. If you're one of the lucky ones that, again, you have your list in advance, I love to pair a welcome postcard or letter with that idea I just shared. Some years I've gotten to do this, some years I did not, just depending on when my school was able to give us our list. But if you have it in advance, there are these wonderful postcards from a seller online called Letters from Mikkel. I bought these postcards that Gabby's going to send you the links so that you can see them too. And I would print these off. So you write the postcard on your computer so that you don't have to handwrite it. I used to handwrite them and that would take me forever. So this is so much faster. You type up your letter on the postcard template in the product, and then I would just use a QR code to link to my welcome video. You can put your welcome video on Google Drive and make it shareable, or you could put it on YouTube as an unlisted video so that only people that have the link can watch it. That's what I usually did. And then you just put it into a QR website. There are so many free ones. I think I did QR generator or something like that. I didn't have to sign up for anything. It was free. It just downloads to my computer. And then I inserted that as an image inside my postcard. Students really loved this. Getting snail mail is a rare experience for students these days. So they thought that was really fun, and I always did that if I could, but there were some years that I wasn't able to. And so in those cases, I just sent it my video in the welcome email, which I do regardless of if I have time to send the postcard or not. And this is something, if you're watching live with us, that will be in the freebie folder. It's a template, an email that I send out every year, simple, introducing myself. I like to use headers that are bolded, so it's very easily skimmable and doesn't look overwhelming to anyone. And I'm basically just telling families how excited I am for the upcoming year. I'm linking my welcome video, and then I include an attachment with my Meet the Teacher letter. So if you have a Meet the Teacher night, we're going to talk about that now, or a back to school night, whatever your school might call it. And I have a set of resources for Meet the Teacher night that Gabby will send out to you in the link area. I love to have a checklist when families walk in the door to meet me for the first time. I welcome them at the door, but then if your Meet the Teacher nights are at all like mine were, a lot of families can come at the same time, and it's just not possible to walk with them through everything that they need to do. I've tried many things. I tried having little station signs set up. I tried having a slide on the board with directions. And I found that both of those ideas were just not ideal if there were a lot of families in the room at the same time. So this was another idea one of my teammates gave me that worked so well. I just have a checklist of every beat that they need to do, everything they need to do while they're at Meet the Teacher, and they just follow it through with their student. And it's very clear they're holding it, so it's really easy for them to see all the things they need to do and they don't miss anything. And it helps so that I don't have to be right next to families at all times. I can just be having conversations and welcoming families as they enter the room. So this makes a really good first impression because it shows them you're organized, you've got a system for them to follow, it creates peace, and you can insert your personality into that. For example, I always have one of the last things in the checklist say, come find Miss Munch and tell her it's going to be the best year ever. And they always love saying that. At least second graders did. If you're a fifth, sixth grade teacher, you might adapt it to something more fun that they would say. But for second graders, they love doing that. I have on their desk, if you're allowed to do food items at your school. I know all schools are different, but if you're allowed to, I love having some sort of little welcome treat. My personal favorite was to get a big bag of cereal, the S'mores cereal you can find at Walmart, and to pair it with these "We can't wait to learn some more about you" tags. Students loved it, super easy and really inexpensive. I usually bought 2 bags for 25 to 30 students, and it lasted perfectly fine. I just put it in a cellophane bag with some gloves on, tied it up, and attached the tags. And Gabby will send you the link if you're interested in those tags. If you're watching live, this is a freebie that will be in the folder. I have another welcome treat tag that I paired with Kind Bars. This is especially helpful if you're in a time crunch because you don't have to prep any kind of treat. You just lay them out really quick with the tag. There are different tags in there that say you're one of a kind, or I'm kind of excited about you, and they pair really well with any kind bar of your choosing. that was an easy one to have out and ready on the desk. So when the families are going through their checklist, one of the first things they do after they drop their supplies is to head to the desk, they get their welcome treat, and then they look inside the family folder. I used to not have a folder and I would just have all the papers they needed on the desk. And I learned that having the folder is so helpful. One, because they're much more likely to leave with all the papers that they need. And two, it just keeps them more organized. I even like to put a little sticky note in there if anything needs to come back to school. So I put in there that the folder needs to come back, one of the papers needed to come back, and then the students had an assignment that needed to come back to school. We're going to go through everything I have in that folder. The first being a Meet the Teacher letter. There are endless amounts of templates out there. I have lots in my store that Gabby will link to where you can see all of them. Something simple, use bullet points. You don't want families to have to read a whole novel about you, but just enough to where they feel like they know you a little bit. They know how long you've been teaching. They know how long you've been at the school. I like to include a few of my favorite things, and that was always exciting for students to see some things that I like to do. And then I put my contact info in there as well. Along with that, I have an FAQ page. This is super helpful. I would meet with your team if you work with other teachers in the same grade level and discuss what are things that families are always asking about. I know at our school, a common one was, when is lunch and recess? What do we do for birthdays? Can I come have lunch with my student? And so on and so forth. So we just made a one-page FAQ document so that it could answer all those commonly asked questions. And that was in their family folder so that we didn't have to answer near as many emails because they had all the info right there. That is also going to be in the freebie folder if you are watching live with us. The next thing, oh, you're so welcome. Someone said that was a good idea. The next thing is to have a way to gather some info about a student. I call this the Child 321 is my favorite form to use. And I love this form because it's very unintimidating. I found that when I did more of an open-ended type of form where maybe parents were just asked to write a paragraph or a letter about their child, for some parents, that was a bit daunting to try to encapsulate their child in a certain number of words. But this form made it really simple and they could fill it out quickly. Some families even filled it out right there at our Meet the Teacher night. I always told them they could just return it on the first day of school so that they could have some privacy filling it out if they preferred. But some families didn't want to do that. They just filled it out right there. I have them fill out 3 words to describe their child, 2 things I should know. So that could be recent changes, interests their child has, bits about their personality, any 2 things they want to tell me, and then 1 wish they have for their child in the upcoming school year. That was the section that meant the most to me that I was really looking at because that's where I usually saw what that child came in struggling with, whether that was that they build strong friendships, that they grow in a certain subject area, that they're able to have more self-control, whatever it was that was on that parent or guardian's heart, that's often what ended up in that section. And so that was something I prioritized, is looking at that, holding on to that information throughout the year. I love that this shows parents were wanting to partner with them and that we value their insight into their child that we don't have because we are just meeting their child for the first time, their most precious thing in the world. And so we want to show families how much we care by getting their insight into what their child is like so that we can learn from that as teachers. So I love having that, and Gabby will send you the link. I also provide this form in Spanish, but it is editable. So if you have students that speak other languages and you have language specialists at your school, you can consult them to edit it for you and make it available in that child's language. Okay, the next thing that's inside that folder, I have a little magnet, and that magnet just has on it my name, the grade that I teach. So if they have multiple students, they'll remember. I have when their child's lunchtime is and how to contact me, which is usually just my email. Some of my team teachers would also put on there our school's phone number, you could do that if you wanted to. Families loved that. They told me they kept it on their fridge all year, and that way they were never having to remember what my email was or when their child had lunch. They could just easily refer back to it. This is also a part of the Meet the Teacher set that includes the checklist. So Gabby will link that again for you. If you're watching live with us, this is in your freebie folder. This is called the Handle with Care page. I love putting this in the Meet the Teacher folder, but it could also be something you wait on sharing about if you have like a parent info night or a back to school night later in the year. I know some teachers like to wait and share about it then, and I think that works super well as well. So what this is a page letting families know that if their child is ever having a hard day, or maybe their family is going through something, and they might not feel like sharing all the details with us, or they just might not have time to give us a call or send us an email with all the details, they can send us a simple email that just says handle with care in the subject line. And that is a cue for me as a teacher to know, okay, I'm going to be extra sensitive and checking in with this child's day because something's going on. I don't need to know all the details, but the family wants me to know something's going on either at home or outside of the home that might be distressing to the child. This just opens up communication for families who might not be comfortable sharing a bunch of personal details, but they want you to know that their child's going through something. And it helps just to give them that avenue. I didn't have a ton of families take me up on this throughout the year. I'd say I maybe got 4 or 5 emails max each year, but it was so helpful for me just because, again, we're showing families we value that you have insight, we don't. And so whenever you let us know something's going on, we're going to pay attention to that and take that to heart. Love that. Love that you guys love the idea too. It's very, very sweet and simple. All right, the next idea, tuck it in your pocket. It's something you have to prep at the end of your previous year. So not for something you do this year, unless you're able to contact your past students, then you could probably make it work, but probably just something you'll do at the end of your coming school year. During the last week or the last couple weeks of school, we're usually doing some kind of letter writing unit in my class. But even if you're not, I always prioritize having them write a letter to my future students. So even though I knew last year that I was going to be home creating resources for the year, I still had my students fill out this letter because when I go back to the classroom, I want to be able to pull those out so that my incoming students can just get a little glimpse of who I am. If you're going to be teaching the same grade, you could have them fill out specific activities they can be looking forward to, or it could just be more general and make it about you, things that are going to be systems you use in your classroom. You could brainstorm ideas as a class if you want to, but basically it's just in telling the next group of students what their year is going to be like and getting them excited. My students and families loved reading these. I had it as a stop on their checklist. So when they came in, one of the things they had to check off was reading a letter on the wall. I had lots of student letters up there from my past group of students. They'd go, they'd read the letter. And what was amazing is that they remembered details from that letter all year long. One of the fun things I love to do in my classroom is a learning cafe themed day. And several of my students had written about that in their letter. And I had a couple students all year long asking me, when are we going to do the cafe day? When is that happening? I was like, oh, stay tuned. It's at the end of the year. And I couldn't believe that they remembered it was from the letter that they got, that was going to be something fun we did during the year. And they just couldn't wait to see what it's going to be about. Yes, Molly says she's done that too. Oh, yeah, it's so sweet. And I just love seeing what that group of students like really remembers from our year. So it's sweet to have that insight going into the next year. Okay, we have a few ideas left. The first day gift is something that kind of ties into your first day of school, but I have it out at my Meet the Teacher. So what is the first day gift? It's a little bag. It stays on their desk and we open it whole class on the first day of school. I intentionally set it on the desk at Meet the Teacher because I want them to see that there's something fun we're going to get to do on the first day of school to just build that anticipation and excitement for the first day. If you cannot do food or treats at your school, I would just do this and not worry about having something else they can take at Meet the Teacher. If you can do treats, then you've got some easy options to do. It just says do not open until the first day of school on it. And then inside are a couple things. You can choose the gifts that you use. You don't have to do anything certain. I just have a happy first day part on the top. And then I have a letter that I read to the class that explains what their gifts are. So the gifts that I choose to use are a mini container of slime. And this represents how slime is messy, just like we're gonna make mistakes during our year, but slime also sticks together, just like our class family will stick together. I give them a little bit of time to play with this for about 10 minutes on the first 1 to 2 days, depending on if we start on a Thursday or a Friday or however that works during the year. They love getting to use that, and then they have to take it home or throw it away, depending on what their families prefer. And then the second gift I have in there is a little unique because it's going to tie into a first day activity. It is a puzzle piece. And at first they might be a bit confused, but then later in the first day of school, we're going to do an activity. We'll usually read a book like Our Class as a Family or another sweet first day of school book. And then every student will get out their puzzle piece from their bag and they get to color it however they would like. And then they fit it into our class puzzle. And this stays up in our classroom all year long, just as a memento that we are all an important piece of our class family. Pro tip, these puzzles are not easy to put together, even though it's only 36 pieces. But I found that numbering the back of each piece extremely helpful. And then I put the corresponding number behind that piece on the board because it's just really tricky. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's a heart-shaped puzzle, but we found they were pretty complicated. Gabby's going to send you both the link to the first day gift tags and to the puzzles. What's great about the puzzles is they come in a set of 6. So I've had that same set of 6 for quite a while now. I think I have 1 or 2 left in there, and there's 36 pieces. So hopefully you have 36 or less students. I really hope that you do. If you have excess pieces, I told my class that those represented other people in our school that were helpful in making our class family wonderful. We always saved some pieces because I often got new students during the year. So that was part of our ritual of welcoming a new student, is giving them their puzzle piece. We'd take a piece from the puzzle and say, you're an important piece of our classroom family. They would design their piece, we'd add it to our puzzle. And it was just a celebration that, hey, you joined our class family. Now you're an important piece of this puzzle, basically. So yeah, no, the letter is not one of the freebies. That is just an extra printable that I have. It's included in one of my end of the year products, but it's just a bonus for that section. But you could also type up anything on your own as well. So Gabby will link to that for you. Both the puzzle and the first day gift set are things you could do. Okay, winding down here, we've got the class Facebook page. This is something you'll have to ask your school if that's allowed for you. Some schools it is, some it's not. You could also use the Class Dojo app. I use this as a private group and a way to send families photos. I do have them fill out a little survey when they get into the group that asks them if it's okay for their child to be in photos inside the private group. And most families, I've actually had all families say yes, that was fine with them. And so then any photos I shared on that could be of any student. And it was just a way for them to be a fly on the wall in our classroom, especially at the start of the year. I always put our first day of school photos and some videos so families could just feel at ease about how their child is doing those first days of school as they're worried about them heading into a new environment with new kids and just getting comfortable. That was just something that made them feel more at ease with how things were going in the school year when they could be a little fly on the wall and see a little bit in our class Facebook page. Okay, again, there's other ways you could do that. I just was allowed to use a class Facebook page, so that's what I did. In addition to something you could do at Meet the Teacher, I love to have a quick family info survey that will be in your freebie folder if you're watching live with us. This survey was like 4 questions, 5 questions max. They filled it out very quickly. This is where I asked families about what holidays they might not celebrate so that I could be mindful of that throughout the school year. I also asked them about how their child was coming and going from school most days because we needed that kind of information for the first day of school, for how students were getting home, how they usually traveled home was something we were required to get anyways. So I just added a few additional questions and put them into a Google form. We had Chromebooks permanently in our classroom, so I just set up a couple of those, and that was again on their checklist at Meet the Teacher. It was to stop and fill that out. It took them 1 to 2 minutes, so it was not something they had to sit down and think a lot about. All right, we have come to our last idea, and that is sending some kind of follow-up email. So if you have Meet the Teacher, I would send this after Meet the Teacher before the first day of school. If you don't have Meet the Teacher, I would send it on the first day of school, or basically as soon as you have access to email addresses. I'm thanking them for coming to Meet the Teacher if they were there. I'm telling them how excited I am for the upcoming school year. I'm giving them reminders if there's anything I need them to bring back or return to me. And then a new idea that I have not personally done yet, but I have friends who have done it, is giving them a link to you reading some kind of first day of school book that they could watch with their family as like a bedtime story the night before the first day of school. A Letter from Your Teacher by Shannon Olson is a great pick. I usually read that in the first day of school, but there are so many great first day of school books. It might be nice to break it up a little bit. So up to you. But I found that just sending a quick email, again, is just something gets them excited. And if you're sending an email after the first day of school, you could even mention some of the activities that you did that day that were highlights they could discuss with their child. Okay, so we just got one major thing accomplished, which is discussing all these ways you can start strong with your class this school year. I am so curious if you would type in the chat which idea you are most excited to use or try for the first time. I would just love to see which thing stood out to you. Okay, I see the puzzle, 3, 2, 1, the magnet, having a folder for the families, awesome. The puzzle again, the welcome letter and video, the survey, awesome. Oh, someone said I feel much better now. That is awesome. There's so much to think about, but yes, hopefully this will give you some great ideas. The handle with care, yes. Love that there's so many different things that you gathered from this. I love to see there's a lot of variety there. Yes. Well, I'm so happy to share these ideas with you. There are some other things to think through now. You've got through one major thing, and I'm so glad that you have some ideas you can walk out with. But of course, there's more to think through. So I'm going to give you some other things that I would personally put on your list to think through as soon as you can, especially things for the first day of school. You want to make sure you're excited about your plan because your first impression extends into what activities you're doing the first day of school. I would also make sure you feel really good about your behavior plan for your whole class and your students as individuals. I would also make sure you know how you're going to communicate with your families during the year and how you're going to teach procedures, because the first days of school are like 80% procedures, 20% fun, maybe more like 30, 70, I don't know. But you want to have both of those really solid, thinking about how you're creating classroom community, how you're going to run morning meeting, and how you're going to include life skills or social emotional learning. So many important things to think through. But luckily, I'm here and I'm going to be sharing free ideas on Instagram, on YouTube, lots of things to help with that. But I also have an offer for you. If you're like, I need more help with all of these things, I want you to tell me step by step, just like I did with you today, how to do all of these things. I can't discuss all of them today because you'd be here way too long. But I do have a resource I put together specifically for back to school that is all kinds of different Start Strong trainings, just like we did today, but to cover all of those topics that I can't talk about in just one session. So I'm calling it the Start Strong Vault, and some of you are already in there. And I saw some of you wanted to come attend this anyways, which is so sweet. But the vault is now open. We open it once a year, and it has currently 10 different training sessions. And they're all intended just to help build your confidence and excitement for heading back into the classroom. I also have 5 and counting full products inside there. My 2 behavior products are in there, and as well as a morning meeting unit for the first weeks of school. And there's lots more freebies, just like we're about to give you the freebie folder for this session. Every session that I have in the vault has additional freebies as well. Plus, we're adding new ones. I have a sticky note from our earlier session of ideas of what sessions to add. So if you're on the lifetime plan, you get anything we add for free forever. So here's a quick look inside. There are sessions just like this, but like, for example, we have one about the first days of school and how to have the best first day of school ever. And underneath that, it says access the freebie folder. So under each lesson, it looks just like that. And we have freebies to go along with every session, just like we're going to give you a folder in Google Drive today. There's a Google Drive folder for every session inside the vault. There are a few of the activities that are part of the recipe for the best first day of school. So right now, like I said, we have 10 sessions in there. They're going to cover everything that I just talked about. This session will be in there. Classroom management will be covered in there. Teaching procedures, having your back to school or family night, so much more. What I love about it is you don't have to watch it all at once, especially if you choose the lifetime plan. You can watch at your own pace forever, and you can watch what's coming up for you. So first days of school first, you could watch the conferences or back to school night one later as that comes up for you, so you're not getting too much information at the same time. These are a few of the full products included that are paid in my store, but are bonuses if you are in the Start Strong Vault. So because you are taking the time to watch this replay and get the information, we want to offer you an exclusive deal on the Start Strong Vault that won't last forever. Normally, there are 3 pricing options for the vault. There is the lifetime option that never expires. It's one payment of $54 and you have access to it forever. You have access to download the videos, and if we add any new trainings in the future, even if they're a whole year from now, those are automatically updated in your course platform. We also offer a 90-day option that's $48 or a 30-day option that's $40. But if you purchase with this exclusive deal, you're going to get the best offer of all. We have a deal for you right now that is a 15% off the lifetime plan, which I believe makes it even cheaper than the 90-day plan. And it gives you the access to all of the trainings for life. So that code is replay15. We are going to link to the landing page for the course inside the email that contains this replay. So you can go back and look at that to see the link to the course page. This code is going to expire, and it's going to expire Saturday, July 20th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you check your time zones because that can mess people up. And it's not going to be coming back until next year. So make sure you get in on it if you are interested at all. As a bonus for the first 5 people that use this specific discount code, because we want to make sure we're including people from the replay, we're going to send those 5 of you the opportunity to pick one of our Meet the Teacher templates and to get that for free. We want you to just have that as a little added bonus for taking action on this exclusive replay deal. We know these added trainings are going to help you feel so confident as you head back into the classroom and are going to get you excited because you're going to have all the tools you need to make back to school the best it can be. We're always taking new training recommendations as well. So if you purchase the vault, you'll notice there is a Ask Anything Q&A box. You can submit additional topics that you would love to see training videos on, and we will consider adding those into the platform. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this replay. We hope it was extremely valuable to you. And if we mentioned that there would be a link for something, we will have that inside the email that contains this replay as well, as long as it is an item that is purchasable. There were some exclusive freebies that were just for those who were able to attend live with us. So those are the only links that you will not see. Again, thank you for watching, and make sure to use that code replay15 to get 15% off the lifetime version of the Start Strong Vault. We will chat with you later. Happy back to school.